Did you notice telecom stocks buzzing today? Vodafone Idea, for instance, surged by up to 17%. So what's behind the sudden rise in telecom company stock prices? Let me break it down for you. Now, the government has recently approved a proposal to waive bank guarantee for spectrum purchases made up to 2022. Now, what does this mean? Now, telecom companies like Vodafone Idea, Airtel and Jio need to buy spectrum and pay license fees every year to run their network to the government. Spectrum is essentially the invisible highway over which mobile data and calls travel. Also, when these companies acquire spectrum, the government requires them to submit bank guarantee. They think of it like a safety deposit, a promise that the company will meet its payment obligations to the government. Now, here's the thing. Telecom companies like Vodafone Idea are already under financial strain because they owe a lot of money to the government, especially in the form of AGR dues. Now, let's quickly step back and speak about AGR dues. Now, AGR dues, also known as adjusted gross revenue dues, is the amount telecom companies owe to the government based on a legal dispute about how revenue should be calculated for paying license fees and spectrum usage charges. Now, the AGR dues include unpaid fees and penalties from the early 2000s until the Supreme Court ruling in 2019. Initially, telecom companies interpreted the rules differently, leading to underpayments. But the government insisted that all revenue, including non-core sources like tower leasing or handset sales, should be calculated in the AGR calculations. Now, this caused their dues to balloon. As of fiscal year 24, Vodafone Idea's AGR dues have climbed to 70,320 crore rupees, while Bharti Airtel owes about 44,000 crores. Now, when it comes to bank guarantees, Indian telecom operators such as Airtel, Vodafone Idea and others collectively hold over 30,000 crore rupees in BG obligations. Now, Vodafone Idea in particular owes a staggering 24,700 crore rupees in BGs to the government. Now, this adds to the already heavy financial burden the company faces. Now, to make matters worse, Vodafone Idea recently missed a bank guarantee installment of 350 crore rupees due on November 1st for spectrum acquired back in 2012. Now, this just shows how tight their finances are. But the good news is the Union Cabinet's decision to waive the bank guarantee for spectrum bought up to 2022. Now, this is huge relief. This means telecom companies no longer need to tie up large sums of money as security. Now, for Vodafone Idea, this is like getting a financial breather. It can now free up cash that can be used to improve services, reduce debt, or invest in growth. Now, this decision has given investors a glimmer of hope, which is why Vodafone Idea's stock price shot up today. However, it is important to note that despite this rally, Vodafone Idea stock is still well below its highs from earlier this year, and the company continues to face several challenges ahead. Now, let's talk about those challenges. When Reliance Jio entered the telecom market, it shook things up completely. Jio offered dirt cheap plans and even gave free services for a while. This forced all the other telecom companies to slash their prices to compete. As a result, many smaller players like Airtel and Tata Teleservices couldn't survive and had to shut shop. Now, others like Vodafone and Idea merged to survive. Today, we mainly have 4 players left, which is Jio, Airtel, Vodafone Idea and the government-run BSNL. Now, running a telecom business is super expensive. Companies like Vodafone have to spend huge amounts of money on things like buying spectrum, setting up towers, upgrading networks to 5G, and paying government license fees. Now, for Vodafone especially, debt is a major issue which has piled up over the years. For instance, Vodafone's interest payments alone were over 25,000 crore last year, more than half of what they earned in sales. Now, because of this, they're left with little to no money to invest in growth or technology. Now, Vodafone's market share has also dropped to 18.6%, a sharp decline since its merger with Idea. Over the past 5 quarters, its market share and revenue growth have been stuck in neutral. For fiscal year 24, revenue growth was just about 1%, which is barely anything. Now, the stagnant growth is making it even harder for Vodafone to recover. Now, to tackle its debt, Vodafone had announced a 45,000 crore revival plan. This includes raising money through equity and loans, to expand its 4G and 5G networks, and paying off some of its dues. Now, this also includes 18,000 crore rupees raised through an FPO, which had some serious positive response. Now, the government has also increased the tariffs telecom companies can charge, which can also slightly boost Vodafone revenue. But here's the problem. Even with higher tariffs and aggressive cost cutting, it's going to take a long time to clear their debt. Now, Macquarie says that even if Vodafone raises its price by 20% now and increase them 10% every year, it could take more than 20 years to pay off what they owe to the government unless some of their debt is written off. Now, right now, many telecom companies, including Vodafone Idea, are benefiting from a moratorium on certain payments to the government. Now, this moratorium, introduced as part of the 2021 telecom reforms, allows telecom companies to defer some of their dues for a specific period, easing their financial burden in the short term. However, this temporary relief comes to an end in September 2025. Now, once the moratorium lifts, telecom companies, especially Vodafone Idea, will be facing massive payment obligations that could overwhelm their already strained financial positions. So while today's move offers some relief, the road to recovery remains a long one for Vodafone. Now, without significant support from the government, survival may be difficult. Nevertheless, these are the things that you need to keep an eye on. Whether Vodafone is improving its market share, if there is any reduction in its debt, whether the government offers more support, or if there are any investments in new technologies like 5G, etc. Now, we have done a full analysis on Vodafone Idea and the telecom sector. Do check it out. Having said that, this is me, Merlin, signing off. Take care and stay invested.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.